There is inevitably a thought playing on a repeat in your head right now that is making it so much harder for you to show up and cultivate the level of health and happiness you truly want. And finding it and choosing a different one is not just a mindset shift, it's a neurological shift. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. So cognitive behavioral therapy, which you may have heard of, it's quite popular, is one of the most rigorously studied psychological interventions in existence. And its central finding is that changing thought patterns changes emotional patterns, which changes behavioral patterns. This isn't just psychological theory. It's supported by neuroimaging research. So studies using MRI have shown that successful CBT treatment produces measurable changes in brain activation patterns. Not just reported changes in how people feel or how they behave, but physical changes in how the brain responds. So the prefrontal cortex, which is our responsive, problem-solving part of the brain, increases in activity. And the amygdala, which tends to be our very reactive part of the brain, decreases in reactivity. And these structures change. These are structural changes in the brain's response patterns, not just behavioral ones. The principle of neuroplasticity means that every time you catch a thought that is not serving you and deliberately choose a more useful thought, one that serves you better, you're not just making a better decision in that moment. You are literally starting to build a new neural pathway. So the first time, thinking about something in a new way takes an enormous amount of effort, right? The 10th time, it starts taking a little bit less. The 100th time, it starts to become automatic. And this is how the brain physically changes. I mentioned Byron Katie's work in my book, The Consistency Code, and I think her framework gives us such a powerful tool for this, because her work really points to not every thought requires your belief. So a belief is a recycled thought, and we don't have to buy into everything that we think. Thoughts are proposals, not facts. They're just proposals. They're just options. The analogy I use in my book is that think of your thoughts like a canvas. You get to color that canvas with whatever colors you want to color it with, right? And once you understand that, you begin to relate to your own thinking very differently. You start using it as a source of power, which of course has to come from a space of curiosity rather than passive acceptance. So just remember, one thought at a time. That's how you renovate a mind. You catch a thought that is not helping you. Doesn't mean you have to think positively about everything in your life, but is it helping you to show up in a way that you feel good about? And if you identify there's a thought that is not helping you to show up in a way that you feel good about, can you pivot to something more useful? And look, this kind of change isn't fast. It is a practice. And practice of anything requires dedication, day in and day out. But the transformative power of it is very real and measurable and physically changes the brain in very magnificent ways. So it is absolutely worth leaning into developing this kind of skill set. So I hope you'll extend yourself the grace of doing just that. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.